7th, 2022 at 6:35. Roll call, please.
Alderman Florian.
Here.
Alderman Bolton.
Present.
Alderman Newsome.
Present.
Alderman Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. And Stuart, I think you need to make an announcement.
Yes, tonight's meeting of the Government Operations and Oversight Committee is being held virtually via the Zoom video teleconferencing platform in consideration of the resurgent COVID-19 pandemic emergency, Governor Pritzker's ongoing disaster proclamation, and pursuant to Section 7E2 of the Open Meetings Act. Mayor Taylor has determined that in-person meetings of the City Council and their committees with a quorum physically present is not practical or prudent at this time. This determination will remain in place until further notice or the termination of the governor's disaster proclamation without replacement, whichever occurs first.
Thank you, sir. I need a first and second motion to approve the minutes of the Government Operations and Oversight Committee meeting held on December 6th, 2021.
I'll first.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
And Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Clerk, were there any public comments submitted for this meeting?
No, Chair, there have been no comments submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. So new business. I need a first and second motion authorizing the proper city officials to settle Police Department workers' compensation claim number 201-502-03-0001 for a total amount not to exceed $167,898.48.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any questions to this motion? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
And Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Item B, I need a first and second motion authorizing the proper city officials to approve a voluntary retirement agreement for Wayne Walls.
Make that motion. I will second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions to this motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
And Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. Item C, I need a first and second motion to authorize the proper city officials to engage the Berman Law Group as outside counsel to the Waukegan Library Board and the Waukegan Civil Service Commission.
Alderman Florian, I believe that this item is actually being held over until the next committee meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We will hold that over so I can move on to item D. I need a first and second motion to authorize the proper city officials to engage the, I'm not going to say this right, Polsinelli Law Firm as outside and real estate counsel for the Fountain Square ground lease.
I'll first.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Newsome. Any questions to this motion?
Yes, I have a question if I may.
Go ahead, Alderman Turner.
Has it been decided that we are going to lease this land out as opposed to selling it outright?
Alderman Turner, that actually has not been finalized. So that's one of the things that this council would be assisting the city with, is determining the, looking at the financials. And this is really the beginning of the process. We haven't made final decisions. And the, just as a preface, at the next meeting, Full House will be presenting their initial plans. And so that's really when we'll be kicking off the discussions. The reason that this item is on the agenda tonight is that getting these discussions started from the real estate perspective is the first step that allows the ordering of the temporary casino materials and things like that. That's the only reason that you're looking at this tonight instead of on the 22nd.
Alderman Kirkwood.
I have a similar question that Alderman Turner has, that it says lease instead of looking at the determination whether we're going to sell that land or not. So my concern is that certainly that discussion should come before this body, the whole body, whether it before it's determined by some real estate where they're going to talk about leasing the land or selling the land. So I just want to make sure that that decision is not made in a small vacuum with a couple of people, that the legislative body should be making that decision.
Understood, Alderman Kirkwood. The reason that we presented it this way was that Full House's original bid was for a ground lease, but I think that before anything moves forward, you need to see the numbers that that they pulled together, and they will be presenting those on the 22nd. And at that point, you can provide further direction.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Newsome?
Yes, I had a question regarding the ground lease. Is 99 years standard?
99 years is about as far out as you can go. And it's for financing of a development of this size. It's not unusual. And usually the effective useful period of any structure is about 99 years. If this casino is open for 99 years and still operating, then we would probably be due for an amendment or an extension of the lease.
Am I?
Let's wait, make sure Alderman Newsome did that answer your question? Okay. Alderman Turner again?
Yes. Excuse me, thank you. How much are we gonna pay the law firm?
It was in the documents.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's about $500 an hour, $5.95, $5.65.
Yeah. One thing that I would emphasize, Alderman Turner, is that the costs for legal costs are absorbed actually by the developer. They will be providing an escrow that will cover outside consultants, legal fees. A clear direction that we've had is that this development should not be costing the taxpayers of Waukegan and should not be negatively impacting them.
Thank you for that clarification, Stu. My question along that line is, I believe we still have some money left in the casino fund that was started with the application money. And I was curious, I didn't realize that what you were going to say just now was true, but I'm curious about how much money is left in that account. And I was going to ask if we could use it for this, but obviously we don't need to. So that's good news. But okay. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, I have a first and a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Alderman Bolton?
Aye.
Alderman Newsome?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
And Alderman Rivera?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, ma'am. So there's no old business. Now we're down to reports and communications. Is Tamika, is this going to be your presentation?
Yes.
Great.
I am going to share my screen with everyone. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get started, for many of you, this has been a long day. As such, I would like to say thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight. While the legislative body is aware of who I am, I would like to introduce myself to those that may be watching live or that will watch the Government Operations and Oversight Committee at a later date. My name is Tamika Jones, and I am the Director of Human Resources, and I also serve as the Secretary/Staff Liaison to the Civil Service Commission Board. The services provided by the Human Resources Department ranges across many areas. Each of these areas are demonstrated in the stages of an employee's life cycle. The first being recruitment of qualified candidates for vacancies, whether those candidates are external or internal. The second is the onboarding process. The third is the development of the candidate. The fourth focuses on retaining the candidate through tangible measures, such as an increase in pay, or intangible measures such as a flexible work schedule. And the fifth stage of the employee's life cycle is the offboarding process. The goal is to hire the most qualified candidate, and only those candidates separate due to a retirement. Therefore, stage 3 pertaining to development and stage 4 pertaining to retaining the candidate will be an ongoing focused effort by the department with the assistance of Human Resources. This is an example of an ongoing focused effort on stages 3 and 4 of an employee's life cycle. Here's the current staffing chart for Human Resources. Human Resources used to be a 2-person department providing the services listed on the previous slide until May of 2017, when council approved the hiring of another HR generalist. This allowed the HR generalist at that time to attain the skill set needed to advance to Human Resources Manager. Majority of the services provided in Human Resources are confidential. However, there are 2 accomplishments that I wanted to depict on this slide. The first is the successful implementation and managing of the Early Retirement Incentive Program, or ERI. Over the past 2 years, between COVID-related matters or just the change in life circumstances, the employees were grateful for this opportunity to separate employment with the city and partake in this program as they move forward with the next chapter in their life. As of today, there's a total of 26 participants to the program, 15 of which have separated employment and leaving 11 that will separate employment on or before July 7th of 2022. The remaining 29 eligible employees will have the opportunity to partake in this program until July 7th. The second is the health insurance renewal rates with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Unlike many other entities, the city of Waukegan has not succumbed to high percentage increases as it pertains to insurance renewals. Since 2019, the highest renewal rate percentage increase received for the health insurance was 5%, which included a 2.25% health insurance tax, which was a tax applied to all entities. The city received a $100,000 renewal credit in 2021 and will receive a $285,000 wellness credit in the first quarter of 2022. And this is in addition to the rate reduction of 1.8% for the 2022 calendar plan year. The philosophy of the Human Resources Department is to serve as the liaison between employees and management staff while ensuring that both parties are compliant with all applicable federal and state laws, city policies, and labor agreements. The Human Resources Department has 3 key pillars that need constant devotion in order to successfully enhance the business operations of the city. This includes diversity, which focuses on aiming to be an organization where all employees can excel, work style reform, which focuses on implementing a working style that is healthy for the mind and body. And lastly, development of future leaders, which focuses on producing human resources capable of continued growth. For fiscal year 23, the budget proposal submitted to Finance for Human Resources reflects an increase to 3 areas: other professional services, conference and travel, and staffing. This slide lists the 2 requests submitted under the other professional services general fund line item. The first pertains to the current background checks of non-sworn personnel. Currently, all background checks are conducted through the police department. While this has been sustainable throughout the years, in the fiscal year 23 budget proposal request, I am seeking to do an RFP for an outside vendor to handle all non-sworn vacancies. This will minimize any conflict of interest while increasing the confidential information of new hires. The second pertains to converting from a hard copy personnel and insurance file system to an electronic format. Currently, all personnel and insurance files are stored in a secure location within Human Resources. However, as the number of employees increase, as well as the longevity of each employee, so too does the number of documents contained within each file and the number of files needing to be kept in the office. As a means to lessen the storage of singular but contained documents, in the fiscal year 23 budget proposal request, I am seeking to do an RFP for an outside vendor to maintain a cloud-based storage system that will contain all of the current and future personnel and insurance files, as well as the uploading of additional documents. Conference and travel includes a slight increase for professional development. For clarification purposes, this general fund line item includes training for human resources personnel, and there's no separate line item for training. This increase includes sending the human resources manager to leadership trainings, as well as sending the human resources generalist to trainings applicable to their level of assigned duties. The last budget proposal increase item pertains to increasing the headcount of the department by 1 to add an HR generalist that will report directly to me. As of the last pay period processing, the city has 449 employees, while the human resources manager and current human resources generalist fulfill the day-to-day operational tasks of the department, which I serve as backup or provide assistance when the workload is extensive in order to meet applicable deadlines. I would like the opportunity to hire a human resources generalist to assist with the initiatives of the department. This individual will be assigned to serve as the Civil Service Commission Secretary, which would result in a removal of the $5,000 stipend from the salary ordinance, and the tasks of this role will be included in the job description. This individual will work as a liaison to both PD and fire with recruitment efforts as well. Other tasks will be policy-driven, focus-based. This individual will be assigned to review current policies and adjust as needed, while also keeping the department abreast of new policies that should be implemented. This individual will assist the director of HR with increasing employee wellness. In the wake of the pandemic, employee engagement still remains the life behind any organization's success. The pandemic created a stressful work environment for many employees due to the effect that it had on their mental health. Since 2020, Human Resources has not been able to continue the practice of allowing off-site individuals to come on site to have an in-person format presentation pertaining to mental, physical, and financial wellness. To the extent possible, Human Resources has tried to work around this by conducting virtual format presentations. However, it has resulted in low sign-up numbers for these programs. This effort continues to be a priority for Human Resources to work with departments to determine specific time blocks in which their staff will have the opportunity to partake in these programs and perhaps assign them as part of the workday schedule. Other wellness programs may include health screenings, nutrition education, financial workshops, and classes such as meditation or yoga. In addition to designing and implementing a peer-to-support group for wellness goals initiatives. This individual will assist the director of HR with diversity, equity, and inclusion measures. It is important to understand that diversity, equity, and inclusion cover different things, not just race and sex. Other factors like age and religion are included as well. Human Resources will review each department's statistics to grasp the diversity or lack of diversity within the city's employee demographics. Human Resources will discover the city's weaknesses when it comes to inclusion and formalize an action plan to combat these issues within departments. It is important to notate that this is not an overnight process of resolve. This individual will assist the director of HR with creating a committee of internal employees with a representative from each department who will concentrate on providing education, presentations, and other events focused on diversity and inclusion. Lastly, this individual will serve as backup to the current HR generalist as needed. This has concluded the presentation for the Human Resources Department. Thank you once again for your time. And if you as a legislative body have other initiatives that you would like for me to consider, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Tamika. That was excellent. Does anyone have any questions for Tamika?
Oh, thank you. That was a great presentation, Tamika.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess we can call for adjournment then. I need a first and second motion to adjourn at 6:53.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton. Aye. Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
And Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. See you soon.